Hey guys, your captain is back.
Hey,
In my last video, we talked about the 10 worst episodes in SpongeBob SquarePants. So as I said in this video, this time we're talking about the best episodes in this show. And SpongeBob SquarePants is so great as a whole that I literally decided to make a top 15 list instead of a top 10 list because there were too many great episodes to just have 10 episodes in this video. Hope y'all enjoy! Number 15, Sailor Mouth. Sailor Mouth is an episode that uses the genius idea of taking a simple lesson that most parents learn to their children at a very young age and make humor about it, while adding a subversive critique to its story. The mix works very well and gives us one of the funniest episodes in the whole show. This episode begins with SpongeBob taking out the trash from the Krusty Krab, as usual. While doing so, he discovers dumpster writing on one of the trash cans, so he decides to read the messages people wrote.
when you think about it, this is literally the ancestor of Twitter.
Freds and Blue Sky Rookie. Freds and Blue Sky, not Twitter.
Here's one somebody didn't finish. Squidward smells good.
But then he discovers a message that contains profanity. When recording this episode, the curse words were actually said by the voice actors, before being covered with dolphin chirps in the final product, which makes this plot even funnier.
Krabs is,
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
well, sometimes, but not recently.
Then Patrick comes. SpongeBob asks him the meaning of this word he just read, and Patrick doesn't give him the real definition. He claims that this word is a sentence enhancer that makes you sound fancier whenever you say it. SpongeBob loves the idea, so he and Patrick practice making funny sentences by adding this word to a casual conversation.
Hello, Patrick. Lovely day we're having, isn't it?
Why, yes it is, SpongeBob. This day is particularly lovely.
How right you are, Patrick.
The next day, SpongeBob goes to work at the Krusty Krab and repeats the curse word in all of his sentences. The customers are revolted and they all leave, as to be expected. Then, Krabs finds out that nobody is in the restaurant anymore and he panics. He asks Squidward why everybody left, and his cashier explains that SpongeBob and Patrick kept repeating a bad word. Krabs is revolted too. He makes SpongeBob and Patrick promise that they will never say a curse word again.
Now quit saying that. It's a bad word.
The parallel between Mr. Krabs telling SpongeBob and Patrick not to use this word and our parents telling their child not to curse and explaining why they should swear is really well done, so I applaud the writers on this too. Then, at SpongeBob's house, Patrick and SpongeBob decide to play a board game they like called Eels and Escalators. However, while Patrick keeps getting the escalators, SpongeBob keeps getting the eels. Because of this, SpongeBob loses in a landslide. He's so frustrated that he ends up saying the bad word he and Patrick promised not to say ever again.
You said number 11.
This can be very relatable to us grown-ups, especially if you're that we can't end on loss type of person. You try so hard to be chill to sound like a nice person, but sometimes when you're very frustrated, you just can't hold it anymore and you burst into swearing and raging. I mean, as a generally chill person, that happened to me sometimes. Patrick is shocked and runs to the Krusty Krab to tell Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, but on his way, he also says this word, so SpongeBob also decides to tell Mr. Krabs on his friend. They arrive at the Krusty Krab at the same time, and they both get to tell Mr. Krabs on each other. Mr. Krabs is even more shocked than the first time the two friends said this word, so he forces them to repaint the Krusty Krab. But before they do so, SpongeBob and Patrick apologize to each other for the entire ordeal. Then, Mr. Krabs stops his foot on a small pebble while carrying the painting supplies. He's in so much pain that he ends up repeating the 13 bad words he tells SpongeBob and Patrick not to use. This is really relatable. After all, parents often tell children not to swear, but sometimes when they lose it and burst out too, they end up cursing in front of their children, ruining their efforts, and sometimes learning them curse words themselves.
My philosophy teacher always told me that the entire world is made of hypocrites. She was right.
SpongeBob and Patrick decide to tell Mr. Krabs on his mom, and when they get to her house, they all start yelling about how each other curse and how horrible it is. This causes Mr. Krabs' mom to faint from the shock.
Oh dear, my poor old heart.
When she regains consciousness, she is angry against Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, and Patrick. She grounds them and forces them to repaint her house. A bit later, she stops her store as well and yells loudly. Because Mr. Krabs heard a loud sound, he thinks she cursed as well. But his mother indicates that this is just Old Man Jenkins in his vehicle, who is greeting Mr. Krabs' mother. She laughs along with SpongeBob, Patrick, and her son, ending the episode. Sailor Mouth is hilarious all the way through. The humor is great, the cursing words always being censored by dolphin chirps is a hilarious idea, and the subversion is pretty clever. This is a do not swear type of episode done right, which doesn't just yap, do not curse in the viewer's ear, but which still manages to tell its message in an effective way. In other words, Sailor Mouth has everything needed to make a good SpongeBob episode. Number 14. Goodbye Krabby Patty. Goodbye Krabby Patty has the great idea of taking something that looks harmless at first and then making a story with high stakes with it. Even the first minutes make you think that this episode is just gonna be funny and goofy, with SpongeBob and Patrick having fun together all day long, and almost no dialogue beyond laughing, before surprising you with a story that masters humor, character building, with an actual comment about real life problems that is done really well and disguised in a clever way with SpongeBob SquarePants' humor. Because in the afternoon, SpongeBob and Patrick go to Bargain Mart to buy ice cream, when they see Mr. Krabs buying frozen food. SpongeBob thinks that selling Krabby Patties would be really convenient if they could be frozen, because anyone could enjoy them without necessarily having to go to the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs loves the idea of frozen Krabby Patties and makes a commercial to advertise them before showing it to an ad executive named Don Grouper. Don explains that if Krabs listened to him and his team, he could make a lot more money. Obviously, Krabs is interested, and already there is a hint about what this episode is talking about. Don explains that a Krabby Patty is like an old friend, but then he says that
like an old friend, but not too old, because research shows us old is gross.
Yes. Oh, it's absolutely just gross.
It's disgusting.
Well, I don't think old is gross.
Google! Social networking! Ha-ha!
Exactly.
the way this old man who still likes old stuff that many people would consider tacky is immediately fired by Don Grouper when he explains that he doesn't think old as gross is already really funny, and a first insight about the subject of this episode. The way media often has to change and not be like its creator intended to be accepted by a channel and promoted on primetime TV. Plus, another hint is that SpongeBob wants to share his ideas, but people keep disrespecting him by calling him Yellow Box, even though he keeps correcting them with his actual name, and nobody is actually listening to him. Watch for yourself.
Krabby Patties taste so nice that they taste nice.
And a bit later in the episode,
The Krabby Patties, they taste so nice that they taste nice.
Hey, that was my slogan.
this shows how many corporations end up being self-centered. Sometimes the creator will have a great idea for the franchise, but in the end, because of the corporate choices, this will become the corporation's franchise rather than the creator's franchise. Some people are okay with that, but for example, when Nickelodeon wanted to continue SpongeBob after season 3, even though Steven Hillenburg, the creator of this show, wanted the movie to be the finale to avoid that the show could become worse and worse, he decided not to work on the next seasons. And Goodbye Krabby Patty is also one of the first episodes to be released after Hillenburg returned to the show, but Mr. Krabs is well aware of that. And for example, when he and SpongeBob are visiting the new Krabby Patty factory, he remains careful not to reveal how Don Grouper changed the Krabby Patty formula. Actually, us viewers can understand that the frozen Krabby Patties are made of sand, but nobody in Bikini Bottom knows that, and Mr. Krabs just doesn't care about it. He doesn't want his food to be good or to make people happy, he just wants the money. Thus, he doesn't mind the negative consequences of his decision. And there are a lot of negative consequences to the frozen Krabby Patties. First, due to Patrick constantly being busy with commercials, he can't see SpongeBob anymore, and this part shows how what sounded amazing to Patrick at first quickly ended up showing its negative sides. As for SpongeBob, he can't cook Krabby Patties anymore, which is a thing he wanted to be hired for. Now, the Krusty Krab is just a museum, and his job is now to greet the visitors. And even the Bikini Bottom mites are negatively affected by those frozen Krabby Patties. We discover that they have weird side effects. If someone eats a frozen Krabby Patty, they can make their butt inflate to massive weight.
If this was season 13 or 14, well, no, which many people would make when talking about the same.
In the end, SpongeBob comes to a sad realization. The frozen Krabby Patties just ruined his life. Now that he can't make Krabby Patties, that he's stuck in a job that he dislikes like Squidward, and that he's unable to meet with his best friend Patrick. Out of sadness, he reluctantly eats a frozen Krabby Patty, but the taste immediately feels off to him, and he quickly understands why. He finally realized that the frozen Krabby Patties were made of sand all along, and that everyone was okay with that. He totally disapproves of this idea.
Krabby Patties aren't made with sand, they're made with love.
He immediately goes back to the kitchen of the Krusty Krab, gets the formula back, and starts reading it again. That makes him smile again, and he decides that the first Krabby Patty he'll cook himself will be for Patrick. Well, let's talk about Patrick. He doesn't enjoy being famous anymore now that he feels lonely. He looks at a photo of him and SpongeBob playing together, and he immediately asks for everyone to leave the room he is currently in. While looking at the city in melancholy, he sees SpongeBob. He's running to see him and reveals to him that the frozen Krabby Patties were made with sand. He then eats SpongeBob's homemade Krabby Patty and loves it. He's very happy that he can reunite with SpongeBob again. This gives an important message as well. Patrick was famous and SpongeBob saw the Krabby Patty sales rise, but they were both doing way worse than they were doing before. But just seeing each other and for SpongeBob making a true Krabby Patty allowed them to be happy again. This tells the message that no matter the material goods you have, it will never replace love. SpongeBob then tells him to listen to his heart when he makes his next speech about the frozen Krabby Patties. And during the night, he decides to tell the truth and tell the audience that these frozen burgers are actually made with sand. Everyone is shocked, and the sales of the frozen Krabby Patties brutally drop.
That was cute when you were rich. I'm out of here.
Mr. Krabs is very sad that he lost everything because of this, but then he sees everyone eating happy at the Krusty Krab and enjoying the taste of a true Krabby Patty. He goes into the kitchen and asks SpongeBob what's happening. He discovers that SpongeBob has gone back to make homemade Krabby Patties, and all it takes for him to be convinced that it was always better is to actually eat one himself. SpongeBob is happy that things are back to normal and the episode ends. Goodbye Krabby Patty just has it all. It has an insightful commentary about a real-life issue and an important message about how love is so much stronger than any material good. It also has a lot of good jokes that allow for some more mature humor about the downsides of star system. Overall, I don't think there's any problem I have at all with this episode. This was the perfect episode to tell us that SpongeBob was back on track after 3 abysmal seasons. Number 13, Frankendoodle. Frankendoodle is easily one of the funniest and most creative episodes in not just SpongeBob SquarePants, but in any Western cartoon. It takes an idea that can sound simple or rehashed from something like Looney Tunes short, but elevates this idea with a twist and a lot of SpongeBob style jokes. Almost all of these jokes are just hilarious. In this episode, an artist is drawing on a boat, but then he makes his pencil fall in the sea where SpongeBob and Patrick are playing together. They try to have fun with it when SpongeBob draws a jellyfish and it comes to life. And the episodes gives us a lot of jokes about what could happen if you were able to bring your drawings to life. With a bit of imagination, and if you know what you're doing, you could change the world for the better by saving endangered species or drawing new homes, for example. Or, if you're more self-centered, drawing all the things you wanted, like an expensive car or a giant house with a swimming pool. The only thing Patrick wants is a mustache.
Now all I need is a magic mustache, and all my dreams will have come true.
Ah, coming right up.
Life is good! Easy come, easy go.
But then, SpongeBob and Patrick decide to prank Squidward. SpongeBob draws a fake version of himself that he calls DoodleBob, but when they try to use it for the prank, DoodleBob starts attacking Squidward before taking the pencil, so Patrick and SpongeBob have to stop him and prevent him from causing more damage in Bikini Bottom. This episode is perfect in the way it uses the idea of drawings becoming real. It explores all the possibilities of this idea. There are a lot of creative jokes and ideas with it. For example, DoodleBob drawing a hole to trap SpongeBob and Patrick, then trying to knock Patrick out by picking a small boulder and drawing 3 little dots on it to turn it into a bowling ball, which results in one of the funniest combos of jokes in all of SpongeBob.
See what I mean, Patrick?
Where's the leak, ma'am?
You okay, Patrick?
Finland!
And we even get to see creative ideas going the other way around by having the erasing part of drawing become real too. What if you could erase things by using a magic eraser? We also get a lot of creative jokes about this question, with DoodleBob erasing SpongeBob's sponge hole, an entire part of his house, leaving the roof and the rest of it connected in a purposely weird way, or DoodleBob messing up with SpongeBob while trying to erase him from existence. Even this concept gives a lot of dark implications when DoodleBob says this.
You Doodle, me SpongeBob.
That literally meant that DoodleBob wanted for revenge to steal SpongeBob's place and have him become the drawing, which would honestly open a lot of opportunities for some sequel episodes, even if we kinda already got one in season 11 with the episode Doodle Dimension. But fortunately, SpongeBob finds out DoodleBob's weakness, paper. He manages to trap his paper nemesis in a book, and after this, he decides to return the pencil to the surface to avoid other accidents. It returns on the artist's boat, who tries to draw again, but just breaks the pencil without any sharpener to fix this issue, which was just the perfect conclusion to this amazing episode. Frankendoodle is an episode that starts with a simple idea, but executes it in such a creative way that in the end, it becomes one of the funniest and most memorable episodes in all of SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 12, The Two Faces of Squidward.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this part myself. Handsome Squidward, the end.
Rookie, I know Handsome Squidward is awesome, but there is still a bit more to this episode than this meme. And even regarding the Handsome Squidward joke, let's explain why it's so funny as well.
Ooh, nice. I'm gonna get some potato crisps.
So, the plot of this episode is rather simple. One day, at the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob accidentally slams Squidward's face with a door, so he has to go to the hospital. When the doctor unravels the bandages around his face, Squidward discovers that he's now very handsome, so he starts enjoying the fame he's now getting from everyone in Bikini Bottom. But then people start stalking him. So SpongeBob has to go back to the Krusty Krab to have Squidward experience another shock so he will be able to revert to his old self. After some trouble, he manages to do so, and everyone leaves the Krusty Krab disappointed that Squidward is normal again, ending the episode. So yeah, that's a simple plot. But the execution is what made this episode amazing. The humor, the critique, the way Squidward's sudden fame is treated, everything lands perfectly. First, the episode manages to take the usual promise of making stuff happen for one episode only and executes it perfectly. As you probably know, Squidward is a character who keeps getting disrespected in Bikini Bottom. That's something we discover in his very first appearance in Help Wanted, where he's erasing a graffiti that's insulting him. Understandably, in this show, it wouldn't be normal to see Squidward become someone who's suddenly admired by everyone, except for one episode with a wacky premise, and the Two Faces of Squidward knows how to play with it, with Squidward suddenly discovering what it's like to be admired. There's also an excellent commentary about fame and how it might not really be as amazing as you'd first think it is for many people. At first, Squidward loves being the center of attention. He finally gets respected, but in the end, he keeps getting stalked and can't spend 2 seconds without being alone, which, with the development of social media like Instagram or TikTok, has become even truer than in 2007 when this episode was aired. And the episode even gives a clever insight about how many people are just fans rather than true supporters for most celebrities in the end. When Squidward is reverted to his normal self, nobody is admiring him anymore, and just before they leave the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob tells Squidward that he loves him no matter what, which Squidward answers with,
"I almost wish that meant something."
That really gives an amazing insight about how most of the time the downside to celebrity is that some people can easily start to hate you just because you disagree with their opinion on a movie, a game, a TV show, politics, or if they're intolerant just because you're from a minority that they hate, or even just when you're a woman. Squidward knows that. He was only popular for his appearance and he may have been a star for the day, but nobody truly cared about his feelings, hence why they stalked him. A great message about how even though fame can seem amazing, it will never replace true love if the admiration people give you doesn't mean anything. And the jokes are absolutely hilarious. Handsome Squidward is so over-the-top cliché with his jawline, his accent, his giant chin, and every woman falling in love with him that it ends up funny, and the climax of this episode makes it even funnier by giving us a scene where Squidward becomes so handsome that eventually he just looks downright ridiculous. The timing for it to come is perfect, and both approaches of the idea master the concept of over-the-top humor perfectly. Even the people's reaction of how handsome Squidward has become are just hilarious thanks to how ridiculously exaggerated they are.
Mr. Handsome! I can fly! Uh-oh, my shoe's untied!
And even Mr. Krabs just capitalizing off of how handsome Squidward has become.
For a small fee of $14.98 per person, everyone will get the opportunity to touch Squidward.
And it all culminates in this scene where SpongeBob pushes Squidward to prevent him from being hit by a falling shoe, and with the dramatic music, Squidward screaming like there's no tomorrow, and the shoe just landing on SpongeBob's head. This scene is just icing on the cake. The Two Faces of Squidward is an episode that not only has a great insight about celebrity, but also manages the art of over-the-top humor perfectly. This episode absolutely deserved its meme status, and I'm glad that the handsome Squidward meme kept its legacy alive. Number 11. Band Geeks. Band Geeks is easily the most popular episode in the entire show, often topping people's rankings. It has spawned a lot of memes and made the song Sweet Victory popular in the first place. But how has it deserved its status? Let's find out. This episode is about Squidward suddenly receiving a call from Squilliam, his high school rival, who brags about how he has become a band leader while his rival is just a cashier in a fast food restaurant. But Squidward decides to lie and say that he's not a cashier and that he actually has a band that is gonna play at the Bubble Bowl, which is equivalent to the Super Bowl. But the problem is, the Bubble Bowl is in 5 days. Squidward decides to make announcements everywhere in Bikini Bottom to form a band with everyone who's interested. Most of the main cast in the show comes and Squidward starts repeating with them. Sadly, none of the members have actual experience in music, and even though Squidward desperately tries to train them, they keep messing everything up, and they don't learn anything in 5 days. Squidward just gives up, resigning himself to be humiliated by Squilliam. But SpongeBob tells his friends how much it meant to Squidward and how much his neighbor has done to he and his friends. They decide to learn music seriously to please Squidward. The next day, Squidward is ready to just give up until his band arrives, forcing them to go to the Bubble Bowl. Squidward's already settled for a humiliation by Squilliam, but the band plays the rock song Sweet Victory flawlessly and receives all the cheers from the public, getting Squilliam surprised and Squidward be happy and admired for one of the rare times in his life, ending the episode. Now, let's explain what makes this episode perfect. First, the jokes. They use a lot of different styles of humor, which means you never really know what to expect in terms of humor in this episode. From dark humor to slapstick humor, it's a lot of different styles with jokes that always land.
And the drums! Too bad that didn't kill me.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
And Larry, when your heart gave out from all those tanning pills, who revived you?
Some guy in an ambulance.
Each joke ends and follows the previous one in a smooth way. Then, the morals of this episode are very good too. It tells to never give up, even in times where everything seems desperate, with Squidward being resigned to his humiliation before living the best moment of his life in the end. And that best moment feels so fulfilling. The Sweet Victory song is epic, and with the line motive of it and the triumphant failing, it was a perfect choice to end this episode, and that victory feels deserved as well. Squidward finally got his glory moment after suffering a lot, and even though his life is usually a succession of sadness, sorrow, and boredom, the waiting was worth it, as he finally got to be admired and have a good memory to cherish for the rest of his life. Geeks is a perfect episode with hilarious jokes, a great build-up, and an epic ending. It totally deserves its reputation as one of the most revered episodes in Western animation. Number 10. Bulletin Board. Bulletin Board is an episode that sounds simple in the first place, but that actually hides more than meets the eye. It's actually a very clever metaphor about the internet and how it can single-handedly make us worse people, like with Twitter.
You mean X?
No, you don't get to call it that. The episode starts innocently enough. An old woman just finished her meal at the Krusty Krab and loved it. She would like to have a way to recommend it to other people. Krabs is convinced when a Bikini Bottomite is tempted to buy a Krabby Patty after reading the old woman's note. For example, getting in touch with people who have the same interest as you in a more easy way, like you can do with Reddit, and its different communities all centered around one subject. This is a nice parallel with how the internet allowed fan art to be easier to find in general. When you start posting things on the internet, a small community of people that genuinely enjoys what you make is enough to make posting things feel very satisfying. A simple batch of likes, a consequent number of reposts, or a nice comment that can already make your day and give you the motivation to continue on your way. But soon, things end up not going so well, as you probably expected. An anonymous person named P*7 starts leaving negative messages and insults towards his Krusty Krab meal. Understandably, Krabs wants to take this message down, but the guy doesn't agree and says this.
C'est quoi ce délire de censure? Je te rappelle que le tableau d'affichage est ouvert à tous, alors tu peux pas retirer un message sous prétexte que tu le trouves bidon.
Actually, Krabs can take him down, because he's a business. If someone keeps writing notes to say that squirrels are naturally stupid, then Krabs has the right to remove this kind of racist comments, or even block the person who keeps saying this.
Exactly. But SpongeBob agrees with the angry fish and decides that no note on the board would be taken down. This is very relatable to me. At first, when I was on social media, I didn't want to block people too much because I didn't want to be intolerant to other points of view. The problem with this ideology is that by doing this, I become an easy target for people who are actually intolerant. So I ended up accepting to block people anyway, because I slowly realized how a lot of them were actually just trying to put me down, or even just bots trying to sell me something I didn't want. And because of SpongeBob's choice, the bulletin board becomes more and more toxic. SpongeBob tries to interact with P*7 kindly, but the anonymous guy just keeps insulting him.
C'est pour moi, le roi des fourneaux 139. Je dirais plutôt le roi des nigauds 139.
The episode also does a great job at portraying how you will often get obsessed by a user who annoys you on social media. Things then get worse and worse. People start insulting each other on the bulletin board for dumb reasons. SpongeBob finally realizes how the bulletin board has become a non-virtual version of modern Twitter when he sees everyone constantly arguing IRL about the messages that people left on the board. And that's really true. Sadly, most of the time, the internet can become a true paradise for anyone who just wanted to put a group of people down, whether it's for the country or, in the worst cases, people unaliving themselves because of cyberbullying. So during the night, the crew decides to stay in the Krusty Krab to discover who P*7 actually is. They discover that he's Patrick and that he was just giving positive messages. The reason people believed there were negative messages is that Patrick was just too stupid to actually write things normally. And Patrick and SpongeBob instead talk to each other IRL, face to face. A great metaphor to talk about how people on the internet may be aggressive, but most of the time they would never do that IRL. I also like how at the end of the episode, the crew decides to completely forget the board and to do something else. In this case, knitting, which is a good thing to allow you to get your mind off of all the negativity that was spread on the bulletin board, or in real life, social media. This is the healthy thing to do on the internet whenever things get too toxic. Bulletin Board is an episode that ages better and better every year, with one of the most amazing commentaries in the whole series by talking about an insightful and subtle way about how toxic social media can be sometimes.
Lesson of the day, touch grass, kids.
Number 9. Pizza delivery. If I were to show someone who doesn't know anything about SpongeBob SquarePants what this show is all about, I'd show them pizza delivery. It's probably the best portrayal of all the great things in SpongeBob, from the humor to the character building. In this episode, SpongeBob and Squidward must work on a night shift to deliver a Krabby Patty pizza after a customer called them, thinking the Krusty Krab was a pizzeria. Squidward is reluctant because he just wanted to go home, but SpongeBob is very enthusiastic and proud to deliver the first ever Krabby Patty pizza. The character building in this episode is excellent because it uses the classic trope of a duo consisting of a constantly cheery character and a reluctant one teaming up, and takes all the best of it to make hilarious jokes that still hold up to this day, 25 years later. The song is really hilarious, and Squidward's reluctance to SpongeBob singing in an obnoxious way is just icing on the cake.
The Krab pizza is the pizza,
and my feet are killing me.
Then, the episode is also relatable. I think many of us have been forced to reluctantly do something with someone who was very inclined to do it, and we are literally forcing ourselves to look as positive as we can. It can be a movie that bores you to death, going to a concert even though you already listened to the artist and don't like the music, or doing a hike that is physically hard for you, but that your friend really wanted to do. Sometimes it can be hard to try and show interest or even just positivity in these moments, and I think the people who experienced this will probably relate to what Squidward is going through. SpongeBob is very proud to deliver the first pizza ever made in the Krusty Krab, but Squidward couldn't care less about that, but because of Mr. Krabs, he's forced to do this shift with his co-worker. The humor is also great, from Squidward constantly trying to eat the pizza, to SpongeBob sending he and Squidward to the middle of nowhere because of his non-existent driving skills, or that rock scene.
That's just a stupid boulder!
It's not just a boulder. It's a rock. A rock. A rock.
But the best part of the episode is the ending. After getting to the customer's house, SpongeBob gives the pizza to him, but he rejects it because SpongeBob and Squidward forgot his drink, which is very real, as many times you will put all your blood in projects only to feel very down when you meet negative feedback. SpongeBob starts crying after getting scolded by the customer, so Squidward takes the pizza box himself and stands up for SpongeBob in a scene that is still very famous in the show to this day.
Look, I told your little friend I ain't paying for that!
Well, this one's on the...
Squidward truly managed to show that he really cares for SpongeBob in this scene. He may have been annoyed by him in the whole episode, but this part proves that he really cares about him, and he won't let anyone put him down like an older brother would do, which is really cute and relatable to see if you're an older brother too. The episode ends with SpongeBob and Squidward going to the Krusty Krab and finding out that the customer's house was just near the restaurant. Also, what the heck? The Chum Bucket is supposed to face the Krusty Krab too? What the fuck? Pizza Delivery is an amazing episode that is full of amazing jokes, relatable situations, and great character building. Once again, just like with Geeks, this episode completely deserves its iconic status. Number 8. Selling Out. Selling Out is an episode that, in the span of only 11 minutes, manages to have an excellent plot, a lot of different things going on, and a commentary on a lot of different serious subjects that were very real at the time this episode was aired and only age better and better every year.
You know what? Let's do a little challenge for this segment. If you make a joke about any big American corporation while talking about this episode, the video ends. Ready, set, go!
In this episode, a group of managers that Mr. Krabs admire enter the Krusty Krab. When Krabs ask them what they want to do, they reveal that they want to buy the restaurant. Mr. Krabs denies the offer at first, but then the managers manage to bribe him with money that he'd get if they can buy the restaurant, which is already an insight into corruption. Krabs tries to resist the idea of transforming his old and traditional restaurant into a modern fast food restaurant, but money is enough for him to sell the Krusty Krab.
But it's the blood, sweat, and tears of a hard day's work. It's not about the money. Holy sweet mother of pearl!
So he eventually decides to retire and lets SpongeBob and Squidward work here with the new boss in charge. He's named Carl, and we can already see that he renamed the restaurants the Krabby O Mondays. Krabs isn't too fond of that name, but he doesn't interfere with this. He instead decides to chill out and enjoy retirement. But quickly, we get a scene that can be very true. During this part, we see a montage of Mr. Krabs doing activities that he has time to do thanks to retirement. At first, he's enjoying himself, but quickly he starts getting bored until he has nothing to do with his time. This is already a scene that is very relatable. People see being a millionaire that doesn't have to work to make money like heaven or the ultimate goal. But when you have this life, just chilling out won't be something that will make you happy. Many people will actually get bored pretty quickly since they don't have a goal or a hobby in life anymore. Before saying the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs could manage the restaurant and see the way to make this restaurant grow as his goal, his hobby, since he really enjoyed that. And when he was doing well, there was money awaiting him as a reward. But now he has all the money he wants and no hobby anymore, so technically he has nothing to do with his time. Even Pearl gives him the advice of finding a new hobby in his life.
Get a job, get a hobby, or get some friends.
And yet, when you have no true hobby in general, your daily life can quickly become boring. So Krabs decides to become an employee at Krabby on Mondays. He sees that after he sold the restaurant, Carl turned it into a modern fast food restaurant, like a McDonald's for example. And working at the Krabby on Mondays is living hell. The employees are forced to be constantly smiling. If they express any frustration, they are summoned to human resources, who would presumably attack them physically if that happened.
Now, Squidward, you wouldn't want to have to talk to human resources. Would you?
SpongeBob and Squidward are under pressure as Mr. Krabs discovers the politics of this restaurant.
I've never seen you so happy.
They're watching us.
That guy's a real pain in the hindquarters, eh, Squiddy?
As we see that the Krabby Patties are now made of a weird grey material, Krabs has had enough. He tells Carl that he doesn't agree with his view at all. Carl argues that the customers are satisfied with the mediocre things that this restaurant now provides. Krabs understands that the only reason people are eating here is because they don't know what they're eating, which is very true. Honestly, there are many places in the world that are very touristic, like Dubai, where horrible things are happening and modern slavery is used, but people still go there. I think that if people truly know all the bad things that happen in these places, nobody would want to go there. Krabs knows that, so he shows the customers what the new Krabby Patties are made of. He then destroys the machine that make all those synthetic patties before scolding the managers.
Krabby Patties are supposed to be made by hand, one at a time!
Then the machine explodes, destroying a big part of the restaurant and all the changes Carl made to it. The managers are forced to sell it, and lucky for them, Krabs accepts to buying the Krusty Krab at full price to get it back. He's happy to have his restaurant and his old life back, ending the episode. Saying Out is an episode that talks about a lot of serious subjects in a perfect way. It has a lot of good jokes and funny moments, but also some moments with a rather intense atmosphere that makes the final act feel more exciting. The episode manages to talk about a lot of serious subjects in 11 minutes only, while keeping the lighthearted tone that you'd expect from most SpongeBob episodes. Here, we tackled corruption, the downsides of retirement, bad working conditions, and how consumers are often unaware of the unethical side of any corporation, country, city, or brand. This is one of the most insightful episodes of the show, and proves that SpongeBob is more than just another family cartoon for kids.
Wow, change completed. Next segment.
Number 7. Not Normal. Not Normal is one of the most relatable episodes in all of SpongeBob SquarePants. It teaches an excellent message that many people could use nowadays. In this episode, SpongeBob is playing outside and making loud noises that annoy Squidward. So he says this to SpongeBob.
There are two kinds of people. There are people that are normal, and then there's you.
SpongeBob takes this statement completely to heart. He wonders what he should do to become normal so Squidward will accept him. This is a sadly truthful moment. Many teenagers actually start changing themselves to fit in with the crowd or be liked by their friends, for example. And if you're bullied by someone who insults you for your personality, then you could easily lose a lot of self-esteem and believe that there is actually something wrong with you. Just watch all the trans people that detransition because of transphobia. In any case, SpongeBob does think there's something wrong with him, and he immediately decides to watch a video about how to become normal. It shows a man named Mr. Normal, who is a complete cliché of the NPC. And so, the next day, SpongeBob completely changes his personality. He prints Krabby Patties on a computer instead of making them normally. Even his house looks ordinary, as opposed to the pineapple we are used to. He also talks in a very calm way, with simple words, and only talks about boring things. Even Squidward is surprised by this.
Whatever. I know you're just waiting to say something stupid.
Wonderful weather we're having.
His personality now totally fits in with the crowd. Nothing stands out anymore. He's the perfect NPC. And that's also a relatable metaphor, saying that oftentimes, when you're bullied, you may not manage to ignore it or tell someone, so you just try not to be the center of attention, making not normal even more relatable. But in this case, Squidward actually starts to like the new SpongeBob. He starts to plan a little chat session with him on a daily basis, and that goes on for 3 weeks while SpongeBob strives to become more and more normal. In the end, his edges are now curved and he doesn't have holes in his body anymore. His cheeks are also completely round.
Okay, we all understood where this is going. You can stop here.
But then, we discover that the Krabby Patties are now completely flat and that their texture is similar to paper due to SpongeBob's new method of making them. The customers decide to leave the Krusty Krab because of this, so Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob to make Krabby Patties the old way, but SpongeBob still wants to stay normal, so Krabs just kicks him out. But SpongeBob is still inclined to please Squidward despite this. He meets with Patrick, who gets bored with the new SpongeBob, and this scene is also relatable because it presents a new bad side of changing to please people. Because you lose all the good things in your personality that please the people who love you for what you truly are, and if you try to be yourself again, you lose the fake friends who you originally tried to please by changing the person you actually are. That also happens to SpongeBob. Even Squidward ends up being annoyed with this, so he decides to become weird again. And I like how Patrick decides to help SpongeBob even after seeing what he's become. He truly knows that SpongeBob's true personality is still there, and he really wants his friend to be able to express himself again. It's cute to see, especially in an era where Patrick is generally a complete jerk. He tries to have SpongeBob partake in weird activities, and it works. SpongeBob is getting all of his features back. But suddenly, when he was about to revert to his old self again, all the changes are suddenly cancelled and he's back to his normal self. SpongeBob is sad because he thinks he's permanently normal, but Squidward comes in, revealing that he followed SpongeBob's advice and became normal as well. SpongeBob is scared, and the surprise makes him revert to his old wacky self. I love how what makes him weird again is being scared of someone who's quote-unquote normal, and when you think about it, it's not only funny, but it also makes sense. After all, it's not very normal to be afraid of the normal, is it? The episode ends like this. Not normal is very relatable. I think if you tried to change yourself to please a friend, or to force yourself to get into their passions even though you don't like this stuff that much, you can probably relate to what SpongeBob's going through here. He's okay with Patrick not wanting to hang out with him anymore, and with Mr. Krabs not letting him work at the Krusty Krab anymore, as long as Squidward sees him as normal. And the message is really good. What you should do is express your true personality. People may not want to hang out with you, but the true friends will like you for what you are, not what you try to be to please other people. This message was relevant when this episode was first there, and today, with the rise of social media and the fact that transphobia or homophobia is becoming a more talked about subject, it's still relevant to this age. And not normal is not only relatable with a good message, it's also really funny. The overuse of
"Hi, how are you?"
ends up becoming really hilarious, and just like the two faces of Squidward, the exaggeration of cliches about being normal or being an NPC is just really funny too, because of how the episode is aware that it keeps shoving all of the stereotypes in your face, but in a harmless enough way that it's still funny and it doesn't get old, thanks to the variety of the jokes. It's an amazing episode overall, and we're only getting better from here. Number 6. Roller Cowards. Roller Cowards continues that streak of episodes that mix excellent humor and relatable situations. But this time, what makes it relatable is a bit more casual than bullying. In this episode, Patrick and SpongeBob find out that a new roller coaster has opened in Gloveworld, their favorite theme park, and they both want to try it.
It's the fiery Fisto Pain!
But after both having a bad dream where they die on that ride, they realize that they don't want to ride it because they're actually scared of going on it.
Ah! I don't want to ride the fiery fist of pain!
However, they don't want to tell each other because they don't want to disappoint each other or sound like a coward.
Boy, the Fisto Pain sure sounds...
Really, really scary! I mean funifying! I mean hortastic! I mean funnable! Fun! Really, really fun!
Yeah, really fun.
So they pretend to be excited about going on the ride during the whole day, and they keep trying to find excuses so they won't have to ride the fiery Fisto Pain.
That line looks awfully long.
Oh, I know! Let's go on some of the dumb kiddie rides first.
Yeah! And then the Fist of Pain will seem even cooler!
Yeah!
This episode is relatable because it portrays being forced to face your fears when you go on a roller coaster with your friends in a convincing way. Most of the time, the people who don't like roller coasters may have a hard time explaining to their thrill-seeker friends that no, they don't want to ride King the Car or Batman the Ride. As a huge roller coaster fan myself, I used to go into Disneyland in Paris every year with my family, and I still visit a lot of theme parks with them. And I was, and still am, the only person in my family who's truly fond of thrill rides. I rode Big Thunder Mountain at the age of 9 with my whole family, and I fell in love with roller coaster ever since. At the age of 11, I was tall enough to ride the 2 other big roller coasters in Disneyland in Paris. My mother was already willing to ride Big Thunder Mountain with me because she could still handle this one. But when I wanted to go to Space Mountain, she was too scared to go on this one because of the hoops. However, she didn't want to refuse to go on it because she didn't want to make me sad. So she forced herself to ride Space Mountain, and needless to say, she didn't like it at all. People who had this kinds of experience can probably relate to what SpongeBob and Patrick are going through here. Like, they know they won't like the fiery Fisto Pain because you can see they're terrified just riding the mitten. And many people who really don't like roller coasters may relate when they ride roller coasters that aren't very intense and the other members of the party aren't scared at all, but they are absolutely terrified, and they may feel embarrassed about it. Sometimes you may feel cowardly when you see people enjoying themselves on roller coasters in commercials about theme parks. But not liking roller coasters doesn't mean being a coward. It's just a type of ride for a more specific audience that not everyone will enjoy. But SpongeBob and Patrick actually feel more and more insecure about it, with this bathroom scene, for example.
It's just a ride! What are you so scared about? You can do it! No, you can't! You're a big crybaby! Oh, yeah? I thought we settled this the last time!
In the end, they go on the fiery Fisto Pain, still pretending that they want to ride it.
We're not crybabies!
3, 2... We're brave!
They end up discovering that the ride is broken, so they can finally confess. Actually, it isn't. They ride it, they hate it, and in the end, they are still proud that they made it. Roller Cowards is very relatable and funny. It portrays the feeling of being afraid of roller coasters realistically. If you're afraid of coasters, you could probably relate to this episode. Plus, it's also hilarious, with a lot of good jokes. Moving on. Number 5. Chocolate with Nuts. Chocolate with Nuts may be the second most popular episode in the series after Bang Geeks, and once again, its popularity is entirely deserved. In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick see a magazine showcasing someone who has a magnificent house that they admire. Squidward explains that to have such a fancy life, SpongeBob and Patrick could try to sell things, so they decide to sell chocolates to everyone in Bikini Bottom. They're sure to be fan-saving in no time, and from this point, the fun starts. This episode is full of really subtle and hilarious jokes. The children can laugh at jokes that are simple, but that land in a great way. The adult audience will laugh at jokes that are much more subtle and that the child audience may not understand while they watch the episode.
I got it! Let's get naked!
No, let's save that for when we're selling real estate.
There are so many iconic moments here. For example, the chocolate fish. This joke is simple, but with the blatant exaggeration of the fish's reaction and the voice acting, it manages to be hilarious in its own way.
Chocolate! 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 Chocolate!
Then, there is the joke with the old lady. She's just really funny thanks to, once again, the exaggeration of her character.
You just can't wait for me to die, can you?
And let's not forget the con man. He keeps saying things to SpongeBob and Patrick to scam them, playing with their emotions, and spotting their needs to steal their money every time.
Such nice boys. It does my heart good to con a couple of Class A suckaroonies like those two.
Don't forget to write your best jokes about big corporations in the comments, everyone.
Every single joke in this episode lands, and the episode also tells a couple of great messages in a subtle, non-pushy way. For example, don't lie. When SpongeBob and Patrick try to lie about their chocolate, they end up getting a taste of their own medicine when the con man scams them, which makes them lose all their hard-earned money. Even the memeable chocolate fish manages to tell two lessons. First, never give up, as he buys all of SpongeBob's and Patrick's chocolate when they are ready to quit. Then, never judge a book by its cover, as SpongeBob and Patrick think he wants to harm them, but he ends up being the reason for their success. Overall, there's not a lot of things that I have to say about this episode to convince you of how great it is. It's just a simple but amazing episode where every joke lands and that also has good morals. Number 4. SB129. SB129 is not only one of the weirdest episodes in Western cartoon history, but arguably one of the weirdest pieces of art ever created in modern times, and that's why I love it so much. We start the episode by seeing Squidward playing clarinet in his house. SpongeBob and Patrick enter his house because they want him to go jellyfishing with them. He refuses, but SpongeBob and Patrick keep forcing him. Squidward ends up having to leave his own house to get some peace and quiet, and since it's Sunday, he has an idea. The Krusty Krab is indeed closed on Sundays, so he decides to go there so he can play clarinet peacefully. However, SpongeBob and Patrick are still nagging him, so he goes into the freezer to hide, and that's where the fun starts, because Squidward ends up getting stuck in the freezer and he can't open the door. But somebody will undoubtedly find him in no time, so there is no need to worry. Right? Right?
That's when I worry the most.
Yeah, actually, there was quite the need to worry, because nobody came to rescue Squidward. As a result, he ends up stuck in the freezer for 2,000 years, until suddenly the door falls, revealing Squidward's frozen body. Already, this is a very weird and ambitious plan for a show like SpongeBob, especially for only being in the very first season of the show. And that's actually great because it allows for a lot of creativity this early in the show. Squidward barely regained his consciousness, and already he sees that now he's in the future. He meets someone who looks like SpongeBob, but that person is actually Sponge-Tron. And already, the episode uses plenty of creative ideas to make this future the weirdest it can be. First, shortly after introducing himself, SpongeBob reveals that he has friends that are just clones of him. Then, we discover that everything in future Bikini Bottom is made of chrome. And then, Squidward finds out that Patrick now has 2 heads. This is the last straw for him. He wants to go back to the present with this classic moment, that has become a great meme. And here's one more hilarious joke in this episode. SpongeTron tells Squidward that the time machine of the new Krusty Krab is just to the left. Squidward enters, but actually that was a room made solely for opening cans.
Oops! Oh yeah, that one's the can opener. Try the one on the right.
This future scene is already brilliant. All the jokes land and align perfectly with the idea of an absurdist future, but then Squidward goes into the time machine of the restaurant and decides to go to the past so he'll be alone without SpongeBob and Patrick to nag him. Despite some wild prehistoric animals attacking him, he likes it here at first, until he sees prehistoric version of SpongeBob and Patrick who keep nagging him too. I absolutely love the visuals in this prehistoric version of Bikini Bottom. The desaturated colors with the constant mist makes this place feel so much dangerous and wild. Squidward even manages to teach jellyfishing to the prehistoric versions of SpongeBob and Patrick, and you should keep that in mind because that'll be involved in the ending too. Afterwards, he gets attacked by them due to his bad clarinet performance. He's forced to go to the time machine again, but this time he mistakenly makes it glitch, which takes him to a weird space that seems to be what you'd find between two dimensions. The machine ends up flattening and disappearing. Squidward reappears in a pitch white place. This is easily the best part of the episode. This blank void feels so psychedelic with those colored squares that just disappear when Squidward touches them. These weird voices, mumbling, incoherent sounds, and most importantly, death parts.
I may finally have found a place where I can be all alone. I gotta get out of here!
Squidward keeps running everywhere in this blank void. He starts panicking, not knowing where anything is and where he is. Fortunately, he ends up breaking a piece of the floor, which takes him to the time machine again. He expresses his wish to go home, and the machine just takes him back to the present near his house. Now, this scene could be seen differently depending on your interpretation, and that makes it even better. Here are some interpretations I'd like. One of them says that Squidward was actually dead when he was teleported here and got stuck in the purgatory. But when he said he actually wanted to go home, the gods heard him and had pity for him, so they sent him back to his own dimension. Another one thinks that Squidward managed to travel through the multiverse and goes to another dimension. Either way, Squidward manages to go home and is actually happy to see SpongeBob and Patrick after what he's gone through. And this conclusion is perfect too.
And you don't know how happy I am to see you guys.
Does this mean you want to go jellyfishing?
No! Who's the barnacle head who invented that game anyway?
You are Squidward.
Going back.
SB129 is easily one of the most creative episodes in the whole show. Everything about it is unpredictable, and the writers really went all out to imagine a lot of weird and fun concepts that could go well with the idea of time travel, while keeping the usual absurdist tone of SpongeBob SquarePants' humor in general. The graphic styles of each time period Squidward visits are really amazing too, and the atmospheres of each scene are great too, whether it's the mysterious but still welcoming future Krusty Krab, the wild prehistoric fields, or the psychedelic void that Squidward visits at the end. The climax also gives so many dark but exciting implications that just make this episode feel scary but also fascinating in its own way. One of the best episodes in the whole show. Number 3, Girls' Night Out. This episode is easily the best one modern SpongeBob has to offer, and the most relatable one in the whole series, with a lot of great jokes and nice character building. In this episode, Sandy has managed to live as an amoeba for a week. She decides to celebrate that accomplishment by going on a girls' night out with friends, hence the title. So she decides to invite Karen and Puff. They meet up at a cafe to start their little party, and from there, the fun starts. The dynamics between the three characters work really well, whether it's regarding the humor or the general relatability of what they're all going through, especially since Karen and Mrs. Puff are characters we don't see that often in the show, and that actually managed to make it the most relatable episode in SpongeBob just thanks to how casual it feels. It captures the good and warm feeling of just hanging out and having a good time with your besties really well, and if you're the type of person who just likes to hang out with people you like, you can probably relate to Sandy here, with the general atmosphere being surprisingly chill for modern SpongeBob, with nothing too wacky happening here. That really amplifies that casual feeling of this episode. During their little hangout at the cafe, the three groups also vent away their problems and have a nice talk, and just after this scene where the true fun begins. Because Sandy has the idea of playing pranks on the Bikini Bottomites. First, they decide to prank Plankton and the Chomby Cat, and with the exaggeration of the tone in fake Krabs' voice, the scene is hilarious. The second prank involves SpongeBob, and it's really funny as well. This time, Mrs. Puff enters SpongeBob's house while he's sleeping and puts a VR helmet on his head so he'll believe he's getting his driving license and his own boat. Unfortunately, SpongeBob goes away, still not getting it was just a prank, so Sandy, Karen, and Mrs. Puff have to prevent SpongeBob from crashing. And this is nice because this shows the three characters are still being in character. They would always try to prevent their friends from being hurt. It's nice to see because in these kinds of plots, it's easy to flanderize the characters' personalities, but here their personalities are perfectly respected. And after this, Sandy, Mrs. Puff, and Karen decide to go to the perfect place to end their girls' night out, and it turns out it was the spot where Sandy managed to live as an amoeba for a week. They literally go there to enjoy a drink in amoeba form, which is a really funny way to end the episode. And that sums it up. Girls' Night Out is a really hilarious episode. It's simple, but the humor and the casual feel of it makes it relatable and hilarious. Number 5, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes are generally great, but the best one is easily the 5th installment. It just has it all, from humor to character building, and even though it's supposed to just be a parody of classic superhero movies, it genuinely feels like you're actually watching one of those, which is pretty impressive considering that a SpongeBob episode like this that is not a special only lasts 11 minutes. In this episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, the superheroes of Bikini Bottom, are eating at the Krusty Krab, as usual. But we then find out something pretty interesting. Despite their old age, Mermaid Man treats Barnacle Boy like a child. We can see it as early as in the start, where he's about to order a pipsqueak patty for his sidekick, which is basically the kid's equivalent for the Krabby Patty. Barnacle Boy finally snaps and says that he wants an adult-sized Krabby Patty. He's really fed up with being treated like a child, and Mermaid Man's obliviousness to this makes this part pretty funny. But Barnacle Boy ends up being so tired of being mocked by everyone in the Krusty Krab that he decides to join the dark side. Now, in a serious business movie, this would be a sad scene, but here it's treated in such a light way that it almost manages to make you feel like the stakes in this episode are actually pretty low, which is downright hilarious and allows for some great jokes as well.
I'm crossing over to the dark side.
Why should I waste money lighting the whole store?
Mermaid's man tries to fight the EVIL, but they manage to fool him really easily, so he ends up being discouraged when he realizes that he's now 1 against 3. But SpongeBob and the gang decide to help him. They all put on costumes that once belonged to Mermaid Man's former companions, giving them superpowers. That allows for a lot of great jokes too.
The Quickster, with the uncanny ability to run really quick!
Wanna see me run to that mountain and back? You wanna see me do it again?
And I also love how after they present their new superhero costumes, you expect them to see them fight immediately, but it just cut to the whole team in the Mermaid lair, which is the base for Mermaid's man and his allies, just about to order some pizza. The contrast between how a superhero is oftentimes seen as being just as powerful as a god and how casual the scene feels is really funny as well. But their casual time is short-lived because a live-action man calls them. Apparently, the EVIL is harassing teenagers at a place called Makeout Reef. They all go there to stop the villains.
Does this mean we're not getting pizza?
At first, the villains are pretty scared seeing Mermaid Man and his 4 new companions, but they all fail to actually fight in hilarious ways, with Squidward mistakenly burning SpongeBob with his fire powers and Mermaid Man preventing Squidward from using those by mistakenly hitting him with his water ball powers. In the end, the EVIL wins the fight because their opponents weren't even able to actually fight.
In other words, the EVIL wins by doing absolutely nothing.
But then, Barnacle Boy approaches Mermaid Man, and contrary to what you'd expect, he doesn't want world domination. He actually quits the evil, and confesses that he just wanted to be respected by a superhero friend. They reunite and go back to the Krusty Krab to get a Krabby Patty, leaving the two villains disappointed because Barnacle Boy didn't wish for world domination. This is a really wholesome ending, with Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy showing that their friendship was stronger than ever. It's a bit cheesy, sure, but despite this having a satire aspect, they still managed to make this a heartwarming scene.
Need a hand? Super pal.
The episode's ending is pretty funny too. Barnacle Boy reveals that the dot-sized Krabby Patty is actually too big for him to finish, which is funny because that was exactly what Mermaid Man thought was gonna happen at the start of this episode. But nobody minds and the whole gang just laughs it off, including this dude here. This episode is a complete satire of superhero movies in general, and it works perfectly. The characters have that perfect balance between being serious business heroes and being complete parodies. There were a lot of things that happened in this episode in the span of only 10 minutes, and as I said, it almost felt like I was watching a superhero movie. The episode never fails to pull out great jokes by adding a humorous twist to popular superhero movie tropes. It also has a lot of action, making it exciting on top of that. But yet, there is one SpongeBob episode that manages to be even better. But before we get to number 1, I decided, for the first time on this channel, to add some honorable mentions. You see, obviously, SpongeBob has way more fantastic episodes than bad episodes. First, it's made me turn this top 10 list into a top 15 list, and even then, there were several episodes I wanted to talk about a bit. Here are those. First, we have Idiot Box. Idiot Box is a simple episode, but also a hilarious one. Here, SpongeBob and Patrick get a TV, but they actually give it to Squidward because they just want to play in the box. Squidward wonders how they can have fun with it, but actually it just takes imagination. It allows for creative concepts while nothing actually wacky happens. This is a very clever idea to make an episode on the chip while also making it memorable and incredible in its own merits. Then we have Karen's virus. Karen catches a computer virus that makes her go nuts, so Plankton decides to call SpongeBob to remove it. We get a lot of different animation styles in Karen's mind and lots of very funny and creative ideas. This episode is so action-packed with a lot of funny ideas that it's actually surprising that they managed to put so many great things in an 11-minute episode. Next, we have Pickles. SpongeBob is challenged by an arrogant fish named Bubble Bass to make a Krabby Patty, but he thinks he failed because the man claims SpongeBob forgot the pickles, so he constantly keeps it in mind so much that he can't do anything properly. Fortunately, Krabs manages to help him get back on track until he comes back to the Krusty Krab, making another Krabby Patty for Bubble Bass, and then he manages to find out that he was just hiding the pickles under his tongue the whole time. This is a very relatable episode for anyone who experiences anxiety, and the atmosphere and the final scene is really climactic and epic. I think this would have made a much better finale for season 1 than Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Now, it's finally time to move on to number 1. For me, the best SpongeBob episode ever is Christmas Who. Christmas Who is just perfect. It's not only the best SpongeBob episode ever, but arguably the best piece of media related to Christmas in history. It just has it all. Great humor, perfect character building and world building, nice morals, a warm atmosphere that works incredibly well, and an amazing wholesome ending. In this episode, SpongeBob discovers that Sandy is lighting up the tree in her tree dome. Since he doesn't know what Christmas is, he rushed into the tree dome thinking it's a fire. Sandy explains that it's actually a winter event named Christmas. She explains to SpongeBob every tradition that people do during this period, like the gifts, the Christmas food, and of course, Santa Claus. SpongeBob loves the mere idea of Christmas, so he decides to talk about it to his friends the next day. In the first half, I especially love how every character is approaching the festive spirit in a way that fits the personalities. Mr. Krabs loves how the gifts are always free, while Squidward is just a mood during all the Christmas events. It's both fitting, hilarious, but also wholesome at the same time. The town decides to celebrate the first Christmas in Bikini Bottom. Everyone writes their letters to Santa Claus to tell him the gifts they want to receive, except Squidward, who is dead set convinced that Santa doesn't exist and that this whole holiday is completely stupid, showing that he doesn't understand the true spirit of Christmas. But nobody cares about his rambles, and the whole town starts to prepare for the event. Then we have one of the best songs in the series, The Very First Christmas. This is an incredible song as well. It's maybe just a simple, cheesy Christmas song, but the contrast between SpongeBob and Patrick singing about how happy they are about Christmas and all the good things this holiday represents, and Squidward singing about how much his neighbors annoy him with their tradition makes it really funny. The melody is catchy and makes you happy as well. And as usual, Tom Kenny's voice is just perfect. It's so cheerful and it fits the tone of the song and of Christmas in general so perfectly. All of the other voice actors' performances are great as well, but Tom Kenny's performance is just icing on the cake. You know what? This may be my favorite song in the show. After this amazing song, all the Bikini Bottomites are getting ready to greet Santa Claus near a tree, except Squidward, who is sleeping. But Santa Claus doesn't come during the night, and everyone gets bored before they end up all leaving in a sad atmosphere. SpongeBob is sad about it, so Squidward decides to mock him.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas. The first Christmas is this Christmas.
If this episode was released today, he would tell SpongeBob to cry about it.
But then, the best part of the episode starts. SpongeBob gives a gift to Squidward. It's already really heartwarming and wholesome to see. SpongeBob knew that Squidward wouldn't get his gift if Santa Claus came, so he decided to make one just for his neighbor. It really shows how SpongeBob really cares about Squidward and sees him as a true friend that he always values in his life, despite all the bad things he did to him in some episodes, like Grandma's Kisses or Fools in April, especially when Squidward discovers what the present is.
Why, it looks like a clarinet. It smells like one, too. Handcrafted out of driftwood. And it's even got my name on it. This is the greatest gift I have ever gotten.
Just this gift allows Squidward to truly see how good of a person SpongeBob is. He truly loves the present he received, and he immediately feels bad for mocking SpongeBob. So then, we get Squidward's best moment in the whole show. Yes, even better than the sweet victory scene, or that one moment where he stood up for SpongeBob in pizza delivery, because here, Squidward decides to disguise as Santa Claus to make SpongeBob happy. When SpongeBob is about to remove the decoration from his house, Squidward appears, disguised as Santa. SpongeBob loves it and actually thinks he's talking to Santa Claus in person. And for me, this is the best thing Squidward has ever done for SpongeBob, because after mocking him, he redeems himself in such a wholesome way because he doesn't express a single ounce of annoyance or embarrassment this time. He just decides to give all his compassion and his care to SpongeBob after realizing how much he hurt him. That's really sweet of him, and that shows how Squidward really cares about SpongeBob once again, and he understands when he goes too far or hurts someone. Not only that, but he also knows how to apologize for his actions, and then everyone in Bikini Bottom asks for gifts from him as well. In the end, he may have given away all of his stuff, but just doing this really shows how Squidward understood the Christmas spirit and how much it truly meant for the Bikini Bottomites. And in the end, he's the only person who gets to meet the true Santa Claus. Once again, it really shows how here, despite how annoying he got in the first half, Squidward was the kindest and most compassionate character in this episode. He truly managed to understand the spirit of Christmas and to spread it to the whole city when it was totally gone. So meeting Santa himself is actually a great reward for Squidward. And for me, this is the true message of the episode, and probably the best message in the show. The true meaning of Christmas is not just Santa Claus. The true meaning of Christmas is not just the gifts. The true meaning of Christmas isn't just the food. The true meaning of Christmas is being kind to your fellow person, showing them some love, even though they might be feeling down, giving each other gifts, but also compassion, and always showing to your loved ones how much you love them. And this is why for me, Christmas Who is the best episode in all of SpongeBob SquarePants. Easily. Well, this video is over. As you may have seen, it was intended to come out earlier, as a Christmas special on December 25th, but ultimately, I won't be able to release it that early. So let's have it come out as the next best thing, a New Year special on the start of 2025. So, how should I conclude this video? I know how. SpongeBob SquarePants is not only one of the best cartoons, but even one of the best TV shows to have existed. As you could see in this top list, every era of the show has its share of amazing episodes with great messages, hilarious jokes, amazing insights, and creative plots. So I'm sending all my love to the writers of this show who are still striving to make it as great as possible 25 years later, and I hope that the future for our favorite sea sponge will hold more great surprises. Well, since this video is gonna be the first one in 2025, I wish y'all a happy new year. Let's hope 2025 brings us even more happiness in life and pleasure to share.
Rainbow, I don't want to be a party pooper pants, but given all the depressing shit that's going on in the world, I wouldn't be so optimistic about it.
You just had to ruin it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.
Goodbye!